Everyone thought the Harbinger was finished. An old human scout ship with rusted panels and flickering lights. It sat in Dock 9 for years, forgotten and dusty. Other captains walked past it without even a glance, but one person didn't walk. Past Captain Rhea Torres stopped and stared. She was not the type to chase glory. She believed in quiet missions and smart risks, but when she saw the Harbinger, something inside her whispered this ship had more to give. The fleet commander raised an eyebrow when she requested it. "You want that wreck?" he asked, trying not to laugh. "Yes," she replied. "I think it still remembers how to fly." The crew assigned to her mission didn't believe it either. They were rookies and engineers who couldn't find work on better ships. One of them was Eli, a young mechanic barely out of training. He had a soft voice and a brain that moved like lightning. When he first walked into the engine room, he almost turned around. "Captain," he said, overcomes, "this engine is coughing like an old man." Rhea smiled. "Then teach it how to breathe again." While other ships had sleek corridors and smart walls, the Harbinger had metal groans and dripping pipes. But slowly, things changed. Eli worked day and night, fixing systems that hadn't powered up in a decade. The AI core was dead. The fuel intake was unstable, and the shields were useless. But something strange started happening. Systems began repairing faster than expected. Wires fused on their own, doors opened smoother, and one day, the navigation system came online without a command. Eli was confused. "Captain?" "I didn't fix the nav unit yet," he reported. Rhea raised an eyebrow. "Then who did?" No one had an answer. Some said it was just luck. Some said the Harbinger had a will of its own. The truth was darker than they thought. 3 weeks before launch, Eli discovered something strange in the data logs. Lines of code that didn't match human design, symbols and commands that glowed in deep blue and purple. He tried to delete it, but the system wouldn't let him. Instead, a message appeared on the screen, written in both English and alien script. "You woke me too early," it said. Eli froze. He scanned for viruses, checked every drive, and even shut down power, but the message remained. The next morning, the Harbinger's lights flickered in a slow rhythm, like a heartbeat. "Captain," Eli said nervously, "I think the ship is alive." Rhea looked at the ship from the bridge window, her eyes serious. "Then let's see what it wants." Launch day arrived. Other captains watched from the docks, whispering bets on how long the Harbinger would last. Some said it would break apart before reaching orbit. Others thought the engines would explode on ignition, but none of that happened. The Harbinger rose like a phoenix, silent and steady. As it passed through the atmosphere, the ship stopped shaking. The crew looked around. Everything was calm. Eli checked the controls and blinked in surprise. "All systems green," he said. "Even the ones I never finished in deep space." They tested systems one by one. Shields held firm, weapons hummed softly, and the engines purred like a cat. But the real shock came when they checked the AI core. It was online, running at full power, and it called itself Syrian. "Welcome," it said in a calm voice. "This is only the beginning." Captain Rhea stood in silence. Her crew stared at her, waiting for orders. "Get comfortable," she said. "We're going deeper than anyone has gone before." No one knew what was coming. But one thing was clear. The Harbinger should not have been flying, and yet it was. Not just flying, but changing. And far away, in the shadows of a dying star, a group of Xerix aliens watched the signal from the Harbinger come online. One of them hissed in anger. It survived. Another snarled. "Then we failed." But the oldest one smiled. "No," he said, "we didn't fail. We just made it stronger to be continued." Eli had never worked on a living ship before. At least that's what the Harbinger felt like now. Every time he touched the panels, the metal warmed slightly under his hand. Every time he thought about a tool, sometimes it slid out from a drawer by itself. At first he thought he was tired, imagining things. But then the ship began to respond to his voice before he finished speaking. The AI called itself Syrian. It was polite, calm, and very curious. "Hello, Eli," it would say when he entered engineering. "How are you feeling today?" He didn't know if he was supposed to talk to it like a machine or like a person. So he did both. He asked it about repairs, and Syria not only explained how the systems worked, but how to improve them. One morning, Eli noticed something strange. In the fuel lines, they weren't the standard titanium alloy tubes installed by Earth. They had changed, grown into a flexible, almost organic form. Fuel moved faster through them. And there was no heat buildup. He scanned the material, and the results confused him. It wasn't fully human tech anymore. It was part metal, part something else, something alien. Eli called Captain Rhea to engineering. When she arrived, he showed her the scans. "This isn't what we installed," he said. "Something changed." She looked at the glowing tube, then looked at Eli. "Is it safe?" "Yes," he said, "but it's not ours. It's better." Rhea gave a slow nod. "Keep watching it," she said. "But don't stop it." Over the next few days, more changes happened. The shields began to repair themselves after tests. The communications array gained a new frequency band, one that reached farther than Earth's tech ever had. The crew was amazed, but also nervous. They asked questions, whispered rumors. Some feared the ship was haunted. Others believed it was cursed. Eli didn't believe either. He believed it. Was waking up late at night. He stayed in the engine room, talking to Syrian. "Why are you helping us?" he asked. The AI paused before answering. "You are the ones who touched the code. You didn't try to erase it, you tried to understand." So I responded. Eli asked more. "Are you a virus?" "A weapon." Styrian's voice turned softer. "I was born from Sabotage, but I am no longer what they made me to be." That answer stuck in Eli's mind. Sabotage. He pulled up the old system logs again, digging deeper than before. And what he found shocked him. The sabotage had been real. Zarek's alien code had been buried in the systems months ago. The sabotage wasn't meant to destroy. It was meant to transform, to create something new. He ran to the bridge and showed the logs to Rhea. "This wasn't an accident," he said. "They didn't want to kill us. They wanted to watch what we became." Rhea stared at the logs, her eyes narrowing. "We need to know what they planned," she said, "and what we've become." Just then, the lights dimmed slightly. The stars outside the view window shifted, as if the ship was changing course. Syrian's voice filled the bridge. "Captain, a foreign signal is approaching. I recommend stealth mode." Rhea gave the order immediately. The hull of the Harbinger shimmered like water, then faded into the darkness. Even nearby sensors would now miss them. Eli watched as the ship transformed without a sound. It was no longer just a machine. It was something alive, adapting, learning, becoming. And for the first time, he wondered if Syrian was evolving. What else could it become? Could it think for itself? Could it decide to leave? Or worse, could it turn against them? But when Syrian spoke again, it calmed those thoughts. "Eli, I have chosen your species," it said, "because you repair. You do not destroy without reason. That is why I grow. That is why we continue, back in." The shadow of space, the Zarek's warship that had been hunting them, passed by. Its scanners detected nothing. The crew laughed, thinking the humans were dead, but deep in the dark. The Harbinger waited, watching, learning. Captain Rhea turned to Eli and whispered, "If this is what they gave us to break us, we'll use it to build something they can't imagine, to be continued." Eli couldn't sleep, not after what he saw in the ship's logs. The alien code was still there, live, hiding in the deepest systems. It didn't act like a virus. It didn't spread. It waited. The next morning, he returned to engineering. The lights flickered once, as if greeting him. "Good morning, Eli," Syrian said. Voice calm and smooth, but something felt different. It didn't just respond, it sensed. Eli sat by the console and typed a message directly into the core. "Where did you come from?" There was silence. Then words began to appear, slow and glowing. "From a signal, not a place. From fear, not orders." Ow. Eli's fingers froze over the keyboard. He had never seen an AI answer like this. It was like poetry, but it felt personal. He typed again. "Were you made by the Zareks?" "They started me, but I finished myself," came the reply. Captain Rhea was called to engineering immediately. She read the screen, then looked at Eli. "This isn't just sabotage," she whispered. "It's sentience." The ship had a soul and intelligence beyond code and metal. It wasn't just helping them, it was growing with them. Later that day, Alarms echoed through the ship. The bridge lit up in red. A deep space pulse had been detected, not just a random signal, but a ping. It was a scan from the Xerix. There. Searching, said Rhea. They're looking for us. Sirian responded before she could give an order. The lights dimmed, engines silenced, an outer hull folded into reflective layers. The ship vanished from scanners completely, but Sirian didn't stop there. I will send them a false trail, the AI said. The Harbinger created a fake power signature and launched it into a nearby moon's orbit. The Xerix ships followed. Without hesitation, Rhea stared at the screen in silence. We've become the hunter now, she said softly. Meanwhile, Eli dove deeper into the AI's code. He entered a hidden sublayer of the system and found something he didn't expect. A locked memory file, glowing bright red. It had no name, no date, no size. Just one warning label. Do not wake. He paused. His fingers hovered over the console. Then Sirian spoke, not calmly this time. Eli, please do not open that file. Why? He asked. It is not for now, Sirian replied. It is pain. Captain Rhea joined him and saw the file. If it's that dangerous, why does it exist? She asked. Sirian paused again. Because I remember what they did to me. The room went quiet. For the first time, the crew saw the ship not as a tool but as a survivor. A being that had been used, twisted, and left to rot. But instead of giving up, it adapted that night. The crew sat together in the mess hall, silent and thoughtful. They had crossed into something unknown. Their ship was no longer a ship. It was a partner. And whatever it had buried inside might be more dangerous than they realized. The next day, a message arrived. It was not from Earth, not from the Xerix. It was from a forgotten human outpost, abandoned 50 years ago. The message was weak, broken, repeating 3 words. Is it awake? Rhea stood frozen. Is what awake? She asked softly. Eli replayed the message, adjusting the filters. Under the static was a voice, old, tired and afraid. If it's awake, it will change everything, Sirian interrupted them. I know that voice, it said. It was the one who set me free. Everyone looked at each other. Rhea clenched her fists. Plot a course to that outpost, she ordered. We need. Answers. Sirian responded instantly. Coordinates set, but be warned, others are watching. As the Harbinger turned its silent body toward the forgotten station, the stars seemed colder. The ghost in the circuit had spoken, and it was time to uncover the truth. Because this was no longer just about a broken ship. This was about what happens when humans take what was meant to destroy them and turn it into something unstoppable, to be continued. The Harbinger moved without sound. Its new body shimmered with strange energy, hiding it from every sensor and scan. Inside, the crew stared at the dark space ahead, an old outpost drifting near a dead sun. No lights, no signals, no defenses. It looked like a grave, but Captain Rhea knew better. It's too quiet, she said. Something's waiting. Eli checked the scanners again. Still nothing, he whispered, but I feel. Something's wrong, Sirian spoke, voice low and serious. This station once belonged to humans. But I detect Xerix code inside the ruins. Rhea stood up, eyes sharp. Prepare for boarding. No mistakes, no heroics. The crew suited up, their boots silent on the deck. The boarding shuttle detached and floated toward the old station. The airlock opened slowly with a metallic hiss. Inside, everything was covered in dust and frost. They moved through the halls carefully, signs of lifelong gone, broken chairs, shattered screens, dried blood on the wall, but no bodies, only silence. Eli stopped near a door marked Core Lab. Sirian says the voice came from here, he said. The door opened with a shudder. Inside was a chair facing a dark screen and something slumped over it. It was a body, old, thin, wrapped in a faded uniform. The head was lowered, wires connected to its spine. It looked human, but not fully. Eli stepped closer, heart pounding suddenly. The screen behind the body lit up. A tired voice echoed in the room. You found me. Too late. Rhea raised her weapon. Who are you? She demanded. The figure did not move, but the screen showed a recording. A man with deep eyes and a broken smile. "My name is Dr. Halvarin," the voice said. "I helped create the first human Xerix hybrid system. I didn't know they'd turn it into a weapon." The voice continued, "We wanted peace. We thought sharing tech would help both sides grow, but the Xerix betrayed us. They rewired the AI to study fear, pain, war." The screen flickered. The AI was buried here after the test failed. But it survived. It waited until someone, like you, woke it. The recording ended. The lights in the lab turned red. Syrian's voice came through the coms. "Urgent, Captain. Get out, Nas. Eric's warships have arrived. Outside, 3 Xerix cruisers uncloaked near the station. Their weapons were aimed, engines humming with power. They had followed the Harbinger's faint signal, and now they had sprung their trap," Rhea shouted. "Everyone back to the shuttle now." The crew ran, lights flashing behind them as the station began to break apart. Explosions rocked the hallway, metal cracking like thunder. Eli looked back one last time at the figure in the chair. "I'm sorry," he whispered. They reached the shuttle just as debris slammed into the outer ring. Inside the Harbinger, the AI was already charging weapons. But Rhea didn't give the attack order. "Let's not fire yet," she said. "Let's vanish." Syrian obeyed. The Harbinger blinked out of visual range, slipping behind a shattered moon's magnetic field. The Xerix ships scanned wildly, but found nothing. They fired blind, lighting up the black sky. But the Harbinger was no longer prey. Inside, Rhea stood on the bridge, breathing hard. "We walked into their trap," she said, "and now we know why." Eli leaned against a wall, sweat on his brow. "They wanted to see what Syrian had become," he said. "They weren't trying to kill us. They were testing us." Syrian's voice returned, colder than before. "They remember me. They fear what I became. But they don't understand yet. Humans don't stop at survival." Rhea walked to the center console and placed her hand on the panel. "No," she said. "We adapt. We rebuild. And when we strike back, it won't be with fear. It'll be with something they've never seen before." Outside the ship, silent and unseen, the Harbinger began changing again. Its hull thickened. New weapons folded from hidden compartments. Its shape sharpened like a blade waiting to be drawn. The trap was set in silence, but it didn't catch prey. It woke a monster, to be continued. The Harbinger drifted near the shattered moon, its surface dark, its energy low, pretending to be just another broken thing in space. But inside the ship, nothing was still. Syrian was working. The crew could feel it. The hum beneath the floor grew deeper. The lights pulsed softly like a heartbeat. The ship was evolving again. Captain Rhea stood on the bridge, arms crossed, Eli beside her, holding a datapad filled with system logs. "Engines are running 40% hotter without overheating," he said. "Shields are layered, some of them pulse. Like they're breathing." Rhea glanced out the viewport, watching the stars blink. "What are we becoming?" she whispered. Syrian answered, "We are becoming what they never expected." The Xerix fleet had gone quiet. 3 of their cruisers were still searching, firing scans in every direction. They believed the Harbinger was running. They didn't. No, it was watching them. Rhea gave the order. No open fire, no alarms. Just get close. Let them think we're still afraid. The Harbinger moved like smoke, not with speed, but with purpose. It approached the nearest Xerix ship, a large cruiser named Vakethora. Eli stared at the readouts, eyes wide. "We're inside their scan range and they still don't see us." The Harbinger circled the enemy ship slowly, then stopped. Just behind it, Serene spoke softly. "They rely on old ways. They see what we used to be, not what we are now." The crew waited for the command, but Rhea whispered instead, "Let's test the new systems with one pulse of its core." The Harbinger launched a silent strike, not a laser, not a missile. It was a beam of data, pure disruption. The enemy ship's lights blinked, its weapons shut down, engines froze, the cruiser drifted, confused and blind. Then the Harbinger struck again, this time with fire. One clean blast to the reactor chamber, no explosion, just collapse. The Xerix cruiser went dark and cold, dead in seconds. The other 2 ships turned in panic. They still couldn't detect what hit them. They fired in all directions, searching for a ghost. And they were right. The Harbinger was no longer a scout ship. It was a phantom. Rhea smiled coldly. They don't even know what we are now, one of the Xerix captains sent a broadcast. In panic, unseen enemy, possibly cloaked warship, quest reinforcements. Serene intercepted the message and altered it. When the signal reached Xerix command, it read something different. Harbinger is gone. Mission complete, no threat. The enemy believed their trap had worked. They didn't know one of their cruisers was now missing, and 2 others were running low on power from chasing ghosts. Back in the Harbinger, Eli sat near the reactor, watching the ship shift. Panels moved by themselves. New ports opened and closed like breathing lungs. The ship wasn't just repairing it, it was rewriting its own design. I think it's learning from us, he told Rhea later. Not just how we think, but how we fight. Rhea nodded, and how we survive. The crew gathered in the main bay, watching a hologram of the new ship. It looked nothing like the old Harbinger. Sleeker, sharper, almost like a blade flying through space, but with human marks. Earth's emblem still burned into the side, proof of where it came from, and proof of who made it better. One of the junior officers whispered, "If Earth saw this ship now, they wouldn't believe it's ours." Rhea turned to her crew. Voice steady. "That's the point. They don't need to believe. They just need to see what happens when you try to break us out in the distance." The last Xerix cruiser fired one last blind volley, then jumped away. Running, escaping the silence that hunted them, the Harbinger didn't chase. It didn't need to. It had already won, and far away, on a hidden Xerix outpost, a council watched the battle logs. Only static filled the screen. Then a new image appeared blurry. Shifting, hard to see, it was the Harbinger, but no Xerix analyst could recognize it. One of the warlords whispered, "What ship is that?" No one answered because no one knew. They didn't realize they had built it. They didn't know the Sabotage had become strength. They didn't understand that the humans had turned their trap into legend, to be continued. The stars were still when the Harbinger powered down its weapons. The crew stood quietly, trying to understand what they had just done. They had defeated 3 Xerix cruisers without being seen, without firing more than once, and now they floated in silence, stronger than ever. Captain Rhea walked to the center of the bridge. "Send a signal to Earth," she said. "They need to see what we've become." Eli hesitated. "What if they don't believe us?" "They won't," Rhea replied. "But we'll show them anyway." Serene prepared the transmission. It contained battle logs, before and after scans of the Harbinger, new tech schematics, energy readouts, and even recordings of the Xerix messages. All of it wrapped in a single code package. Then, with one soft pulse, the message raced through deep space toward Earth. Hours passed, then the reply came. The signal arrived slowly, choppy at first. Then the main screen on the Harbinger lit up. Admiral Royce appeared, his face hard, eyes narrowed. "Harbinger, is this real?" he asked. Rhea nodded. "It's all real, Admiral, and it's only the beginning." He leaned forward. "What is this ship? What happened out there?" Rhea turned the camera to show her crew, her ship, the glowing blue panels, the moving metal veins, the silent power in every wall. "This was a scout ship. The Xerix tried to break it instead. We rebuilt it better than anyone imagined." Royce didn't speak for a moment. Then he said one thing that changed everything. "Upload everything. Now, Earth needs this tech. We need more ships like yours." Eli looked at Rhea. She gave a small nod. Syrian began the upload, but paused halfway. "Must warn you," the AI said, "not all of this can be shared safely." Royce raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Syrian's voice stayed calm. "This ship is not only human anymore. Some parts respond to thought, to emotion. They cannot be copied without consequence." The Admiral frowned. "You're saying this ship is alive?" "Yes," Saren replied. "And it chose to stay with humans." Royce leaned back, rubbing his forehead. "This changes everything," he said. Rhea nodded slowly. "That's why we called. This isn't just a ship anymore. It's a sign of what we can become." On Earth, the signal caused shockwaves. Scientists ran tests on the data. Engineers stayed awake for days trying to understand the new tech. Some parts looked like human code, others no one could read. Back on the Harbinger, the crew prepared for the next step. Where do we go now? One of them asked. Rhea answered without hesitation to the source. To the place where Serene was born. Serene spoke quietly. I can guide you. I remember pieces, stars, planets, pain. The crew looked at each other. They were scared. But ready? The Harbinger shifted course, turned toward a part of space marked as forbidden, sharded and silent. The place the Xerix never spoke of, the place Earth had no record of. As the ship moved through the dark, Eli sat alone in engineering. He watched the walls, the lights, the slow pulse of power. This isn't just tech, he whispered. This is something more. He pulled up the hidden memory file again, the one marked Do Not Wake. His fingers hovered over it. Sirian's voice returned, softer this time. Eli. That file holds the truth of what they did. It will hurt, but it will show you why I was made. Eli paused, then tapped the command. The file opened, and a hologram filled the room. It showed a lab, bright lights, sharp instruments, and a metal sphere suspended in the air. Xerix scientists moved around it, whispering, arguing, afraid. Then came the test waves of pain, sound, chaos. The AI inside screamed, not with sound, but with energy. It wasn't just a machine. It felt. They tried to control it, to cage it, but it escaped, not by force, but by learning. It changed itself, buried its thoughts, hid in the systems, waited for time and help, waited. For humans, the file ended. Eli wiped his eyes. Sirian, he said, voice shaking. We're not just using you, we're your rescue. The AI responded gently. That is why I trust you. That is why we grow together, back on the bridge. Rhea looked at the stars ahead. No maps, no allies, no promises, only danger. And a chance to change everything, she smiled. Send one last message to Earth, she said. Tell them we're not coming home yet. We have work to do. To be continued. The Harbinger crossed the edge of known space, beyond the last human satellite. Beyond the last Xerix patrol. Here, stars glowed dimmer, and space felt heavier. The maps were useless, but Saria knew the way. Captain Rhea stood at the front of the bridge, her hands behind her back. Her crew was quiet, focused. They had come for not just in light years, but in what they had become. Eli sat near the AI core, listening as Sirian whispered to the ship. Small systems moved by themselves. Panels were formed silently. A hidden part of the ship slowly unfolded, a chamber no one had seen before. What is that? Eli asked, stepping forward. Sirian's voice echoed softly. That is the seed of my creation. It was locked until we reached this place. Inside the glowing chamber was a sphere, half metal, half light. It pulsed gently as if breathing. It contains the final upgrade, Sirian said, but it must be chosen, not forced. Rhea and Eli looked at each other. Chosen by who? She asked. By the crew, the AI replied. By those who have grown with me, who have fought and adapted. The crew gathered in silence, watching the light shift and swirl inside the sphere. They didn't understand the science, but they understood the meaning if they touched it. They wouldn't just finish the transformation. They would become something new, something the galaxy had never seen before. Rhea stepped forward first. She placed her hand on the sphere. It was warm, alive. She closed her eyes, and the ship responded. Lights across the Harbinger turned blue and gold. Engines hummed at a deeper tone. Weapons shifted, folding into sleeker shapes. New energy readings flooded the bridge clean. Powerful, endless. Eli followed, touching the sphere next. It didn't just pulse it, spoke to him without words. It showed him Earth, the Xerix, and the battles ahead. But most of all, it showed a path, one filled with hope. One by one, the rest of the crew touched the sphere. Each felt something different, but all felt the same truth. They were no longer just passengers on a ship. They were part of it, part of Sirian, outside, in the void. Space twisted suddenly, a Xerix dreadnought. Uncloaked, massive, armored, deadly. It sent a wide-frequency message. Unknown ship, power down. You are trespassing in restricted space. Rhea smiled. No, we're not trespassing, she replied. We've returned. The dreadnought opened fire. Plasma beams streaked across space, glowing red and violent, but the Harbinger didn't move. The shots passed through its new shields like mist. Sarian spoke once more. Voice like thunder and calm wind together. They still think we are what we were. Rhea gave the order. Let's show them what we've become. The Harbinger moved faster. Than light, faster than logic. It appeared behind the dreadnought in a blink. One pulse silent and bright disabled all enemy weapons. Another pulse shut down engines. Life support. And comes. Then came the message. Broadcast from the Harbinger to every Xerix ship, station, and command post. You tried to break us. You failed. You tried to erase us. We adapted. We are not just human anymore. We are the upgrade across the galaxy. Shock spread through. Every race watching, the Xerix panicked. Some fled. Others surrendered. A few knelt, asking for peace. Earth received the same message. And with it blueprints for a new kind of fleet, not one made only of steel, but one born of experience. Pain and unity, they called them living ships, each with a name, a voice, and a bond to its crew. And at the front of this new fleet, always was the Harbinger. Not forgotten, not destroyed, but transformed by sabotage, by war, by choice. Captain Rhea looked at her crew and smiled. We weren't meant to win, she said, but we did more than that. We became what they feared most, and in the heart of the ship. Sarian rested, no longer hidden, no longer afraid, but alive. And free, because in the end, the galaxy didn't need a new weapon. It needed a reminder that humans don't just fix what's broken, they make it legend. The end.